Welcome to the International Teacher Podcast with your host, Kent the Cat Guy, Jacqueline from JP Mint Consulting, Darian the Family Guy, and Greg the Single Guy, bringing you episodes from around the world about the best-kept secret in teaching. You got it, international education. Welcome to the show. This is Greg coming at you again for an episode of the International Teacher Podcast. With me coming in from his daughter's closet is Darian Batten. How you doing, Darian?
No, I can't complain. It's always good to be here no matter where you are, closet or mansion. It's always good to be here.
All right, don't play with all of the dolls in there, okay, Darian? Focus on our show, all right?
I'll try to take away the temptation.
Yeah, all right. And Cat Guy, you're here with us too, and you're not in your closet. You're in the other room,
week.
right?
Good to be here, Single Guy. Thanks for having me.
All right. I'm in my living room, and that takes care of the three of us. But our guests this is going to be my favorite show already, and we haven't even started. But Monique and Jimmy are coming to us from outside with birds because their kids are indoors somewhere. They're out in this beautiful, beautiful weather. Welcome to the show, Monique and Jimmy.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thanks so much. I'm a bit starstruck here. We've been listening to this podcast for a long time, so very, very happy to see you guys. I was so anxious waking up this morning. I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is big time."
Well, that makes two people that listen to the show.
Not right.
Doesn't even listen to the show.
We publish? I didn't know that.
How long you guys been listening to the show, do you think?
A few years. I actually wrote, gosh, who did I write? I emailed and we wrote back and maybe we didn't write back and forth, maybe 3-4 years ago. And now we're back at it. The dream is coming alive.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is exciting. That's even getting better. But yeah, well, we should probably, Darian, we do have a show and it's published. Kent, we do have a show. And
you might dial in sometime and listen. We'll check this out.
I keep telling you guys we have an ITP show like podcast, but you don't believe me. These two are just they're verifying what I've said.
I can attest to it.
Where are you guys coming from, Monique and Jimmy?
We're in Phoenix, Arizona. So we're trying to enjoy this outside weather before we are locked indoors for the rest of the summer until our journey to our new
one
home.
Sandbox to another sandbox.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean like you don't have to go into the closet or anything like Darian?
That's the hope, but we don't know.
So do you want to tell the ITP crowd when and where will you be going?
Yeah, so we are going to Saudi Arabia. And we're anticipating an August 1st, give or take. I love the reactions right now. You guys are feeling, yeah. You should see the reactions we get from all of our family and friends over the past month.
Yeah. Well, let them know there's plenty of room in Darian's closet for you guys. I mean,
I'll have to come out the closet, but you know.
Tell us about a little bit about how you got to this point. You're both teachers. Tell us a little bit about your backgrounds.
Yeah, so we've had a it's a different kind of journey here, but I think around 8 years ago, I'm a middle school math social studies teacher, and my wife's a school psychologist. We were living back east and really started to explore this idea of international teaching. And she was pregnant. We had one. We had our second. My wife was pregnant with the second, and then we just got cold feet. And
I didn't think you could have babies in other countries. Like, I laugh now, but I'm like, I can't do that. We can't.
They don't have babies in other countries.
Yeah, they don't have babies anywhere.
We're all adults here.
Yes, there's nowhere else.
La 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 la.
So
Darian had his baby somewhere else, right? He imported them too.
Exactly. So we decided to move. We moved to Phoenix instead as a new chapter, and then COVID hit, and yeah, I think over the last year or so, the ideas come back up. We've had our 3 kids now, 9, 7, and 5, and just kind of had this feeling a few months back, like, man, if there was ever a time to do it, now's the time. right? So let's give it a shot. We got signed on with Search Associates, I think pretty late in the process, it seems like.
So late.
I don't think we were officially verified on the site until maybe mid-January.
It was definitely, yeah.
And
Mhm.
so got signed up, and everybody was 3 kids, 2, working couple, and being a school psych, right? That's it's an interesting puzzle piece to try to find the right home. So we ended up going to the Boston Job Fair and had an awesome time.
Yeah.
And take it.
Yeah. The job fair was so much fun. I will tell everybody and their moms to go to a job fair. We had such a blast, but I think we bought our tickets and got approved like 3 days before the fair and had to scramble for childcare because there was no way we were bringing those people. Like, no.
Let's still qualify. We love our children.
We do.
Like traveling
We
with
do.
another couple plus one.
Yeah.
You're paying for everything.
They would have been in the closet of the hotel. But no, we have such a village here, and our friends stepped up and were willing to take on, our little people for the weekend. And I don't know how much you guys want, about our story with Surge, but so I had, just as a school psych, I had the counselor administrator little preview session before all of the teachers opened up, for like the speed dating piece of it. And so I kind of got an idea of what we were working with. And I understand the other side point of view, but we got like low-key kind of laughed at a lot. They're like, oh, you two, da-da-da, loved us. And then
We saw you until we got to the 3 children, and then it was like, okay.
And do you
honestly,
have 3 spots for our kids?
yeah, they would love us, and then invite us to the next step. And then we would come back with, ooh, sorry, 2nd grade's full. I'm like, oh, okay.
4 spots
No.
in 2nd grade.
So like one kid's class would be full, and maybe it was, but I know that we're a lot. So, but every single offer, I'm kind of putting the cart before the horse, but every offer we got was so serendipitous. It was literally Jimmy physically ran into a head of school coming down from the escalator, and they both were looking the wrong way.
I apologize.
Absolutely. I was looking down at something and then turned the corner and whoops a daisy.
That's the type of serendipity you just can't get online. That's the only
You
intuition.
cannot. You cannot. And so that ended up in amazing interviews, job offer. We ultimately didn't go with it. We live in Phoenix. My kids and I work at a dual language, and it was in Mexico. And I think we just needed a little bit more to scratch the itch. I felt like I was just plopping, I don't know, 6 hours away, new country, same continent, not enough differences, but it was a really awesome journey to just talk with them and network through that. But basically that kept on happening. And the final piece was there were 2, like an administrator and an HR specialist that were sitting down at a table in the lobby of the hotel. And they were doing a puzzle piece. And we kept talking to them, just small talk, as we go by. And they're doing a puzzle, and we're like, hey, it's coming along, da, da, da. And we finally said, like, what are you guys here for? Like, what are you looking for? They're like, we just needed an art teacher, and we filled it 3 days ago. So we're just hanging out. We're like, okay. And they're like, what are you guys looking for? And so we told them, the whole story. And this was
So then
Sunday.
we were trying to be the missing puzzle piece.
Yeah.
to
Yep.
Mr.
Mr.
That was,
Puzzle.
oh,
Yep.
I was pretty proud about that line.
Yeah, dropping. But guys, we weren't their missing puzzle piece. Their puzzle was complete. I think it was Sunday morning, the last day of the fair, and we had great interviews, a few offers, and she said, what do you guys need again? We told her, and she was like, I know somebody in Saudi. The psych position isn't posted yet. It's coming soon. Meet me back here at 3 p.m. today. So we met with them, and It was like a
And
2.
originally, Saudi Arabia was one of the places that I think nothing was off the table, but it
Kinda.
was close to the edge of the table.
Close to the edge of the table. That's right.
Yeah, right. So, but it was the end. We didn't have any more interviews. It was the last day of the fair, so we were like, awesome. We'll have a conversation for sure. And it was with Koust, right? And
Yeah, we
so
know Kyle.
had
Yeah.
to sit down with
That's I think, right? What
Are we-
city are you guys going to go to?
Tuwal? It's like an hour outside of Jeddah.
Okay. All right.
Right.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Opposite coast. Thank you.
Yes, on the Red Sea. Yeah.
So
Wow.
it ended up having I think it was almost a 3-hour sit down conversation Sunday night with them. And it was very much a two-way back and forth, as much as they were, evaluating, interviewing us, we were asking questions because, it being Saudi Arabia, and I think it was one of those places that we kind of had on the edge of the list. And we left, we took 2 steps out of the hotel room, and Monique and I both looked at each other. We're like, that's it. That's the one.
That's the one.
That's the one.
That's totally the fear, though, right? Have
Mhm.
a set plan.
Right.
And you go through all the motions. You postpone decisions because you want to get all the information. Even if you get an offer, even if you get several offers, you sort of hold off, sleep on it overnight because they'll give you 24 hours. And then you meet this out of the blue. You meet the school that just sort of everything happens. The stars align. That happened with Switzerland once. They weren't even on my radar. And the guy goes, I want to offer you a job. And I'm like, I'll drop my drink. He's like, I'll buy you another one. What do you say? But it was very similar to that, not to go into mine at all. But I think that's fantastic. You talk about the job fair that way, because magic does happen there, as well as all of the different ups and downs. It's in your face, right? You are just like, every minute of every moment that you're there, you're like, oh my God, guess who I just met? Oh my God, what are we doing? Where's that country?
Yeah. It was such a roller coaster of emotions in the best way possible, but it was the wildest 3-day marathon I've ever ran. And it was so crazy. I mean, yeah, there's a few other, serendipitous moments too that happened, but
It's very, like you said, it is very much a roller coaster. We
The
feeling
good thing
good
is-
about ourselves and then feeling bad about ourselves and then good and up and down but like you said, there were so many of those moments that, and to have that moment leaving, like, okay, we need to put all our eggs into this basket and see what comes out. It was great.
You're bringing several eggs with you. You got 3 kids, and Darian is sitting right here. He's already in country where you're going. So not the same city, but Darian is sitting here with his kids. He's in one of his kids' closets right now. Ask him any questions about family
Darian,
stuff.
Why don't you give us just the nutshell of your kids' experience so far in Saudi Arabia? What would you say?
Well, it's really neat because our kids are around the same ages. I think you said 9, 7, and 5, and I have 11, 9, and 7. And so, yeah, we're doing the same things at slightly different times. And so, we have found that it has been, like you said, we lived in the UAE before, which is considered much more, I think, open, and I like Saudi Arabia more.
I love hearing that. Say it louder for the people in the back. Please.
The UAE is a tourist dream. It is a tourist dream. It has everything for you. But to live there is slightly different. Saudi Arabia is made for living a somewhat simple life and enjoying what is around you. I'm from a rural place with just trees and fields. And so one of our family, you said what?
Chinakwa?
Chuckatuck, Virginia. Chuckatuck. So I believe it was named for the First Nation tribe that was there beforehand. And so, I mean, city, maybe a couple thousand people.
Oh my.
But it's a really there's really rural. There's really quote unquote nothing to do, but you learn to walk to the lake or you walk through the woods or the forest. And I find Sawyer to be somewhat similar. A lot of times we'll just, all right, kids, let's just jump in the car and we'll just drive and we'll just find these little nooks and crannies. One time we drove on, is he legally? I don't know, but we drove on somebody's land and we had this guy coming out and he was screaming all this, and so I'm from America, so I immediately reverse and start backing on out very quickly, and then he's screaming again like, I was just like, okay, let me stop. In the end, he stopped us. We weren't supposed to be there. We were completely illegal, but he stopped us, told us to park, and so I get out and I'm like, what is going on? We walk into this little lean-to, and there's like half a goat sitting on rice.
Stop.
And he's like, come, I kill it.
Yes.
So we all just jump out the car, and just sit around in a circle. I got my Google Translate, and we're just trying to have this random conversation with this guy who I was just, trespassing on his land.
Yes.
And so it was really, really just a neat experience, very hospitable. I have really enjoyed, this is our 4th year here, and we were 6 years in the UAE. I have really enjoyed Saudi Arabia. And y'all are going to the Red Sea, the history. Jeddah is beautiful. And it's a really, it's a city that is probably has the most young culture, so to speak. Like if you are in Saudi Arabia and you want to be with a kind of like a nightlife, you can go to a shisha bar. That's Jeddah. A lot of colors, a lot of Jeddah is like a I wouldn't say, if I wasn't so old, I would say party. I would say a cafe late at night type.
I'm here for it. To be honest, I love that you said party. And we're looking forward to we're looking forward to like the sobriety that Saudi is going to bring us.
What are you talking about? Right? What are you talking about? What a great word, brought to you by sobriety. I repeated the sobriety episode.
Oh, it'd be the first one.
I'm not gonna say this or international. You may be in search of it. You may or may not find it.
We're picking up.
That's all I'll say about that.
I haven't had a drink in months. Let's just say it that way. That's honest. I don't drink here at all. I drink outside of the country and come back in.
Yeah, I have this receipt from the Dubai airport. You want me to read it through? It's pretty long.
Yeah, they know me at the Dubai airport.
They know it by name.
12-hour layovers there.
Oh man. Okay, I need to ask you guys though, because we kind of talked about that. We're like, are we gonna leave for a weekend and have one drink and be knocked on our butt? Like, how do you guys?
Your body will adapt.
Okay. So, we over here we're on the eastern side, if you will, of the country, and we're a half hour away from Bahrain. And so a lot of expats over here will travel over for the weekend and do exactly as you said. They'll go over for lunch or dinner and come right back. It's that close.
I would imagine for a haircut.
They go, I like to get my toes done, but that's another story.
For a pedicure.
Do you guys go over for haircuts? Is that where you get your hair?
I don't. I just cut it myself, but my wife does. And he doesn't have any hair.
I just throw it short.
I have, because they have some good. They have the Navy. It's a huge Navy base over there.
That's right.
And if you want a smooth, high top fade, I see Jimmy, you got that quaff, and you can't just walk into a quaff.
Do that with.
And so you need somebody that has quaffed and familiarity, so
Riyadh is going to be, Jeddah is what we're talking about. Jeddah is going to have all that for you. Jeddah is more of a Mecca, not the Mecca, that's Mecca, but Jeddah is a city that has everything, right? So when we talk about living where we are, it's much different than living closer to the big cities. We have to travel to Jeddah, travel to Riyadh to get to those places and enjoy the big city life, right? And I'm not sure. I don't know a lot about Kaus. I know a lot of people have taught there. I know a lot of people, but they had Kaus, a great school. It's got a lot of accreditations. It's got a history behind it, right? So good for you guys. I'm excited about that. But like he's saying, this we're living in Saudi Arabia, which is different than what you're going to experience just by the nature of city versus smaller area. Right. If you will.
I think that the mom where we are, the mom has about 900,000. Kobar has about, I think, 450 or something like that. Jeddah has about 5 million.
Oh,
so you're talking about just a difference, and we, have traffic in the city, but it's a different type of metropolis area that you'll be able to find, whatever you're looking for, all types. And because there isn't a Bahrain, I think over in Jeddah, everything is insular. It's more insular. The times that you're going to have, the life that you're looking for, like nightlife and stuff like that, I think it's more insular in Jeddah because you don't have a place where you can go and have an outlet and things of that nature. And you're by the mountains, and there's places in Saudi Arabia where it doesn't get above 80 degrees.
Oh, that's my
and so
is it because of the mountains, or is it because of the?
You go just right by Jeddah, a little bit south, and you can be at 80 degrees in the summer, and then sometimes snow in the winter.
You might even be able to go visit some of the islands out in the Red Sea.
That is on the list.
Well, tell us what the recruiters told you about Jeddah and what really clicked with you when you heard before you walk out the door you wanted this adventure. What were some of the things that were said that you thought that's really what we want?
So I think before we went, we did just a little bit of research and wanted to have an idea and both be on the same page about what we were open to, which was a whole heck of a lot. And then maybe what was kind of a not so much. And so when we looked up Saudi, it was like, men go to that park and women and children go over there. Just all of the gender segregation. And I was like, we're doing this so we can be closer as a family, not more distant. And so that was kind of just we were a little bit apprehensive about that. And there's a few other things, but then when we're in there and we're interviewing them, we're asking about these things, and they were like, that's old news. So many things have changed in the past 5 to 10 years. So many things, women driving, like legalization of cinemas, all of these things that have changed. It felt like the reasons why we were kind of writing it off were no longer the case anymore. And so they were also so receptive of our family. And we knew that if 3 kids, if you even chuckled at us for even trying to go international with our family of 5, we knew that probably wasn't the right environment that we needed to be in. And they fully embraced it. It wasn't even a question. They talked about their 3 kids and having them there, and so that alone was we knew that it was a good fit, and they were just really respectful.
I think too, and I kind of go back and forth. So it'll be compound living, right? And so I've gone back and forth whether 6 months in what that'll feel like, and maybe I will have different feelings than I do now. But the way they talked about I still feel weird saying compound, but the compound and how it is for children, right? And R3, just being able to ride their bikes to the park, right? Without us, right? Go jump on your bike and go, to a friend's house or to the park or to the library or whatever. And you have that sense of safety and the kids can have that freedom where kind of like Darian was talking about, right? Like growing up, yeah, Mom, I'll be home by 8, right? Who
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I'm gonna get into, but I'm gonna go get into something, right? So just it sounded a lot like that, and that's where I got very excited.
Yeah, and people laugh when you say safety and say in Saudi Arabia in the same sentence. I mean, I'm talking just our friends. Like some of the first questions is, "Oh my gosh, are like, do you feel safe?" I'm like, "Yeah, I actually feel safer."
I'm
Single
going to
guy.
interrupt. I just want to say I consider living here in Saudi. Whenever someone asks me what it's like, if I don't use the word compound, it goes a little differently. But I usually tell people it's like living in the 1970s in the U.S. in a small town. Our Darian's kids will walk to school or ride their bike to school. Maybe Darian, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they stop at the park, and there's kids at the park without their parents. There might be a nanny or something like that. We are on a compound, so there's security around us, right? So don't get me wrong, it's a compound experience, but that feeling of the 1970s safety, like out till dark and then come home and go over to you walk to your friend's house. And there's a much different feeling than that in the States nowadays. And it's just really different, but it's one of those things that it's one of those surprises that you get overseas in different countries. Every country's different. And since we're really focused on talking about Saudi, it's been refreshing to talk about Saudi, but it really is like the 1970s, 1950s feeling here for safety. And safety is number one for the families that go overseas.
Yeah.
The single people that go overseas, we sort of throw caution to the wind and say, I'm willing to try out some new things. But when you have 3 kids with you, when you have 1 kid with you, when you have 10 with you, you do have to worry about safety.
It's a concern of mine.
Yeah, I had to, when you were talking about the 50s and the 70s, I was saying the 50s and 70s were different for different people. So, safety.
Not safe for everyone, single guy.
Darian, I'm talking about in general, like cleaver stuff. Right?
Yeah. And
I
that's
wasn't
what
born in the 50s either, Darian, just so you know.
really.
I heard.
He heard about it.
No, but I have when we go back to the States, I have to prepare my children for going back to America. So I have to say stuff like,
what does that look like?
you can't, when we go into the malls, I need to see you at all times. You may go to a mall here and they may be out. They may just hit the ground running. You may go to a park and you just might lose sight. You may say, hey, we're at this water park. I just need you in 3 hours. Meet me at this.
And I say that to them too when they go back to the States.
And I always get lost.
And you're saying this to a 7-year-old, a 9-year-old. And that's fine here. It's almost expected. I remember my father came over here. My father's old school military guy. And he came, we're in the mall, and my kids were just running in the mall. And my dad was like, no, you can't. And he was starting to fuss and this. By the time he finished, he was running in the mall with the children. And they were just running. And security came over and was like, go. And then down they would go. Like he just wanted to want to participate in the race. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't, they let children be children. And this is what I found traditionally in the Middle East. The expectation is that children will be children. So you expect this. You expect children to express themselves completely differently than you have the expectation for adults. So if there's a line and you're in there for 2 or 3 hours, you expect the child to be having a meltdown because they've been on Earth for 7 years, and so that's what I've loved about it. And we spend more time prepping them. Okay, we're going to stand in this line for the airport, but please, look, children, please just keep it together. We're going back to the States. And that's it. I love the States, love, all that great stuff, but it is a different type of training. And when you talk about safety, I have yet to find a place where it's comparable. It is, my children used to go to the pool. As long as you have your pool pass, you drive and go to the pool by yourself. You drive, kids ride their bikes to school by themselves. You know, okay, you got your helmet, you have your pad. It's another world. And like you said, that Leave It to Beaver, 1950s, it takes a village to raise a child. That's the type of life that we are fortunate to live.
And I believe the couch compounds are similar too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I can't wait to clip this whole thing and send it right to my mom. This is all right.
Jimmy's mom. We are from the horse's mouth. Darian right here in the closet.
Now,
talking about
Jimmy's mom, if you want to learn more about the experience, Finding the Right Fit by Greg Lemoyne, www.amazon.com or wherever you buy your finer books. We really need, it's never too soon to pick up gifts for the holiday season.
I do talk about families and couples going to those job fairs in that book, right? It's different when you go to a job fair. It's different when you go to international school. That is one reason why we have Darian Batten is the family guy on this show. And I'm the single guy. Kent is the married guy without kids. We have a design for this, right? And Darian speaks volumes for what you guys are about to go through. I can't wait to hear about what goes on with you guys. But tell us what's happening right now. You're a couple months out. Tell us what's going on.
Man, the anxiety cranked up just a tad this morning. I woke up. So the whole Sunday through Thursday work week is an adjustment in my brain.
Time difference.
Yeah, the time difference. So I wake up and I just wait for an email. That's just been my thing for the past few months. And I got one today, and it was the visa app, like starting, getting my degree, like all of those things done, getting the medical.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And so, we're working with our relocation guy, and then he just connected us with the visa guy. And so we're in the get it all. But I felt like I already did. Like I already sent you our marriage certificate, our visa, our kids' passport.
Is it all digitized, by the way? Do you keep it? Because you should keep it digitized from now on. As you start your journey, you have it in one place and you have it all safe with you. But I still take all of my originals. I don't know about you guys, but I take my originals with me to each country. I have the original stuff, my main paperwork, birth certificate, all that stuff. But it's all digitized for the next steps whenever those steps come along, right? And you never know when your school is going to ask you for another damn copy of something, right? Like you said, I feel like I just did that 5 years ago. The same company, they keep asking me for stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
And so we're in the do it again phase, I guess, but it seems a little bit more intense this time around. I think, our school just wanted it to make sure it was there and we can move on. But now it's like the visa is actually happening.
They're checking the boxes now.
Yes.
You're closer to your end, your leaving date. So your paperwork is going through, etc. You don't have to tell us all this stuff, but are there like house things and you're packing and tell us more about what you're feeling right now. We don't get a lot of guests right before they leave.
Yeah. So we're, I think we have to report on August 3rd, I think. My goal is we do own our house here in Phoenix, is to rent it out. And so that's an exercise in itself. There's a lot of things that I think, what's the right way to say this? There's a lot of household projects that maybe have been put on the back burner that when you go to rent can no longer be on the back burner. So my handyman degree has taken a couple steps up. A lot of YouTube classes figuring out, we're patching drywall, little touch up paint here, garage door opener, this thing. And so a lot of little things like that to just get it ready to try to rent. And so, going through that whole process, figuring out, we have an allotment for shipping. So figuring out what's coming with us, what's staying, do we get the storage unit? Do we not? What do we do with the cars? I think we landed on selling the cars.
Yeah.
I think is where we landed there. So, a lot of, every time I feel like, we're making some progress, we have another little team meeting here and highlight 25 more things that need to be in the house. So we are in the thick of it for sure.
Are you in the middle of teaching this year as well, both of you?
Yeah. So our school we're modified year round, so school will get out. I don't know. We come back after Memorial Day, which is the first time that's ever happened. So we get out the week after Memorial. Do you guys even know what Memorial Day is anymore?
It's one of those days we always miss that blends in with Easter.
Is it May? Early May?
Yeah, nailed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Memorial Day is like May 24th this year. So we'll come back on Tuesday. And then the last day is Thursday for kids. Staff is Friday. And so we just got a lot wrapping up at school, got to put that bow on it and pass it on to the next person kindly and nicely and beautifully. And then we also throw it in that all of our kids are born May, June, and July. So we're also
wow.
Yeah. So
birthday season.
We got birthday season.
Yeah. Birthday season.
Yes, but you know what though? This is birthday season. Throw a pool party, call it good.
Look at that yard. That's nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it's like we got to make the house decent and do our last hoorah for the kids,
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you got to tell the kids that the party supplies are on their way to Jeddah. That's about right next year.
There will be a combo birthday party here. Yeah.
For at least the two younger ones. Yeah.
All right, let's take a moment for a little commercial about how to get in touch with us. You can, of course, find all four of us at the itpexpat.com. That's www.itpexpat.com.
Or you could also find us at email at internationalteacherpodcast@gmail.com. We look forward to hearing from you.
Or if you're into Facebook, we have a new Facebook group at www.facebook.com/groups/ITPexpat, where you can find all kinds of inside information about ITP Expat.
You can also find us on Instagram at ITP Expats. That's with an S. ITP Expats is our handle.
All right, and thank you, listeners. We have over 100 countries represented by our listeners, and though we're not monetized, we are here for you, and we would like to thank all of you for listening. So let's get back to the show.
Did you resign from your current jobs then?
Yes. So we had to.
Yes.
I mean, my contract is I have to do everything a little bit earlier than teachers. And so I actually had to put in, what was it? April 3rd, I'm going to say. No, I don't know. It was early. Mm-hmm. It was early. It might've been the end of March. It was actually definitely in March. And so, what was a little bit overwhelming is I've been keeping like the lead psych and, head of special education department, all in the loop on everything, my direct supervisors. But we had our first interview January 28th. You guys, the job offer did not come. We signed on Pi Day on March 14th. On March 14th. It was such a drawn out process. And I get the HR aspect behind it. The position wasn't even posted for me. They had to go through all, they had to do the thing. And so I get it, but it was really long. And
yep.
It made me feel better though. Cause there was, and I don't mean this to disparage anybody, but there were some schools that made offers very quickly, right? That almost came off like, well,
desperate.
You're really in a rough spot here. If you're like, I feel good. Like I feel confident in my skills, but I don't think you should be confident in my skills yet. So to see kind of the process with Kaus and
yeah,
it was rigorous, right? It was very rigorous, and there was many steps and many interviews along the way. And so,
I'm talking to Kaus right now. I'm going to see if you really are worth it. Let me just see.
Everyone knows that you didn't pay your cell phone bill.
Oh, I was buying a vacuum.
Yeah, that's a great point for the ITP crowd. The wheels move slowly. The wheels move, but they move slowly. And there's a certain amount of faith in the process. And it almost sounds like, Monique, that you were almost leaving your old job before the new job was completely solidified.
And let's add the added ads component of we said no to multiple other places before because we just knew we put all of the eggs in this basket because we were so confident in it being the right decision. We found the right fit and it was so very clear. So
yeah, that's you know what, finding the right fit. www.amazon.com or wherever you find your finer books. You know, I love your story, and you know these better organizations like House, they're going to take care of you. They're going to step you through, walk you through the visa process. When they say they're doing it, but it takes time, they really are doing it, and they might not tell you that they're doing it, but they are.
You can tell. I feel it. I see it. And even after the fact, you know, they're so responsive. Everything is happening exactly as it should. And I just love everything about it.
No, I can't wait to hear maybe this time next year how it's going, you know, once you got settled in and followed up on you guys. What else do you want to tell the ITP crowd about this process? You got the kids, you got the school, you're wrapping up your school. What else do you think people need to hear from your story?
I think my biggest takeaway is just from the job fair, just to go back to that. And we had listened to a bunch of ITP podcasts about job fairs. We had done as much homework, right? Read a few chapters of the book on the flight. And so the networking piece of the job fair, right? And those serendipitous moments of, don't be discouraged, ride the roller coaster, right? And go engage, right? It was at dinner time, at the, you know, at the bar, maybe having a drink or not, or maybe just water, whatever you were, at the coffee shop, right? Just sitting down. We went in and we knew like, this is going to be a hard puzzle for us to kind of find the match. So we need to, you know, it was, you know, be the power couple down there, right? And don't be in the room, right? If you got to be in the room, 5-10 minutes, recharge the batteries. Okay, get back downstairs and go to a session on the school. Go get coffee, sit down, go over your resume, go talk to somebody else, make friends, make acquaintances, and that is really the only reason that this kind of fit came together for us. So
some of those same people that you met are going to be at other fairs later on. Right? And it's going to happen again as you stay in this business. If you know, as you go to more fairs in the future, you might still meet the same people that you met at a job fair before. And it only gets better with that because it really is. I always say it's the smallest district, but it's worldwide. Right. And all of the directors know each other. You know that for a fact because one director that you had no idea you're talking to them and they came up with a connection for you.
Yeah. I mean, Jimmy connected literally over coffee. I was getting ready one morning. He's like, I'm going to go down and get us coffee and whatever. And he's sitting there waiting for it. And head of school in Lebanon interviewed him on the just small talk interview. Then he's like, come downstairs, come meet him. We talk. His wife is, you know, in social emotional something like the head of counseling or whatever. And so he's probably got some of that jargon in his head. He asked me a bunch of questions. We ended up maybe 2 days after we got home, got a job offer through that. Never on the list, never went, you know, formally through that interview process. It just happened. So
I do have to plug the fact that you are you're an educational psychologist. That is part of, I guess, and you're a couple, right? And he's you're middle school, Jimmy, right?
Right.
So I think that you have some ammunition. Let's just put it that way. You have some power resumes going into that into any job fair. And not every couple's going to have that. If you're both elementary teachers, that's sort of a different bag right there, right? And it's a little bit different. And every couple is unique, right? Everybody has that. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I love that you said that because obviously we met a couple people recruiting who became friends, still keep in touch on their journeys. And there was a couple from Maine, and they were both ELA teachers, secondary. So talk about like, that's going to be tough. Who's looking for 2 high school English teachers, or what are the chances you're going to find a middle school and a high school English teacher position at one campus, And so just kind of going through their journey with them. No couple is the same. So, and they actually just accepted.
What were the conversations with the kids like?
Yeah. Yeah. And that, honestly, and we don't have to go into too much of it. I would be perfectly fine living in the same town and being that 30-year teacher at the same school and be all good. This one, when I met her, she is the exact opposite, right? And she has been my call to adventure in life. And so she is, really pushed me outside of my comfort zone. And it's been awesome. I'm down to go wherever. It's going to be fine. My anxiety was more about, the kids and how are they going to adapt and how are they going to feel about it. And so we were talking to schools, that two-way interview is, what is this like for the kids? What is the education going to look like? What's the support going to look like? And again, we live in Arizona. I really enjoy the school that they're at now. Arizona is in a struggling place when it comes to education.
Mm-hmm.
And now going to an international school with phenomenal teachers and the whole experience that is, are they going to be on grade level? Are they going to be behind? What does the support look like for them? I think they're going to be okay, but I don't know. I got all these questions, and let alone how are they going to adjust socially to a whole new world?
How'd you bring it to them? You sit them all down, give them a cupcake, and say, by the way,
Pretty much.
Very close. Very
hey,
close.
screen time tonight is open, kids. By the way, got some news for you.
We honestly, we didn't really talk about it much ahead of the job fair. We kind of talked, loosely about it when we got back from the job fair, and we were feeling, pretty good with a few different schools. Houst in particular has a phenomenal, recruiting video just to kind of show what the city looks like and what the town is like. And so we did go to ice cream, sat them down,
No sirens for you? Are you guys
I was
running
going to
from the
say,
law?
you know what? If there's going to be a live police story tonight, this is going to be great.
They're going to be handcuffed.
Our first time on ITV.
There's our cop story.
There's our cop story.
And we showed him the video and kind of talked about what it would be like. And, like I was saying with this one, she's pushed us. We've taken the kids to, just in this fall, we went to Colombia and Peru and Ecuador. And I took all the kids. So we went to Machu Picchu. We've gone to some of these amazing places. And, my son's going through his ancient Greek, ancient history class, and he's in 2nd grade. He's like, I want to go see the pyramids. So
yeah, and you will.
Okay.
You're only a couple hours away.
Exactly. So he wants to check off all the wonders of the world. So we were like, well, hey, look at where this is at, and look where we can go for vacations.
I love that. Oh, he's so excited.
Darian, how'd you tell your kids that they're going overseas?
He hasn't told them yet.
Still hiding in the closet.
Closets are safe spaces. No, my kids were young.
Yeah.
And so my daughter, she was 2. My son was 2 months. He was actually born in the States, and I left my wife, and she was so excited about that. And and so he was 2 months, and then Suleiman was actually born in the Emirates. Hence his name, Suleiman.
It is possible.
So
it is possible. Okay, good to know.
It is possible.
Just in case, you know, for number 4.
Just in
Number
case.
4
Sit down, Jimmy. Breathe.
So Jimmy, you just have to say, we're going to go on another trip like we did to Ecuador. We're just going on a longer one.
Jimmy, when Monique invites you out for ice cream, be careful.
I've already identified the cadence for when news is coming. I know all the warning signs at this point.
Oh man.
Yeah, so you didn't necessarily have to have that conversation. Y'all had to sit down and have
Yeah.
some hard, can be hard conversations. How did they respond?
Yeah.
Honestly, I think so. Our oldest actually had a really close friend last year whose family works in he works in the DEA, and he just got relocated to Colombia. So she kind of just went through this with a friend, so it wasn't super foreign. And then also, you know, knowing that, hey, it's 2 years, you know, we go and we love it, great.
Yep.
We go and we really struggle. We're going to come back, hopefully, ideally anyway. We're going to come back to the same house, right, with the same friends. We'll be back every summer to see everybody and kind of really talking through those things. For our oldest is a very social butterfly. So I think they've taken it really well. I think they're excited. I think the reality come end of July and, you know, saying the not goodbyes, but the see you laters are going to be a different story. And then that adjustment phase for those first 3 to 6 months or so will be harder than I think they are anticipating, but we are preparing for.
Yeah. And I would add too, we met in Colorado in undergrad. We left, went to Oregon for graduate school. We left. We're both from the West Coast. Wanted to go international. I couldn't get a psych to supervise me, you know, under the laws that we have in the States internationally. So that kiboshed that initial plan. So we just went to Delaware instead. And so we went out to Delaware and then we left. And then we came to Arizona. And so we've always been the people leaving and experiencing our family friends leave us last year. It was a very different perspective. And I don't know if that's because our history has been leaving, not being left. And so I kind of anticipate, while it's going to come with some emotions, we're doing something really awesome, really fun. We have the adrenaline in our systems. I think it's going to be harder having the friends say the goodbyes. And then for us, like witnessing our kids and the emotions that come with that, like their friends' parents have told us their friends have already had tears. You know, there's been multiple tears on that end. We haven't had any tears. Like our kids, they're not going through that piece yet. So
they're excited to see the pyramid.
Yeah. Part the Red Sea and go to Greece and do Istanbul and Cappadocia, you know, like it's just different, I think, being on this end. But we'll see. I'll let you guys know in August.
It's also very helpful to have a trained psychologist here to help guide us all through this.
You said you're both from the West Coast. Where's your hometowns?
Jimmy's from the entire California.
I think I've moved around too many places at this point to have a true hometown. So Phoenix is actually the place we've lived the longest, I think.
Yeah.
But I was born in Southern Cal, like Riverside area.
Yep.
And then moved up to close to Sacramento and lived there for most of your childhood. And then Colorado the last 2 years. So kind of weird. I grew up two most random places when you think of them together, but like the Bay Area and Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I see those eyes.
You know what's great about this? Here's a little piece of advice as you go into international teaching. Don't ask your students, don't ask them where they're from. because
No.
like Kent and I mean Matt, the family guy, one of the other guys that was on our show before, has
Mhm.
4 boys, right? And they'd be like, Dad, can we go back to our home in Maldives? You know, and Matt's like, dude, we can't afford to go back on vacation there. It was too expensive the first time, but they went so many times. The kid, and I ask my students, I say, where are you originally from, or where do you call home? And they're
Mhm.
confused. They're like, I'm Saudi, I'm
Aw.
American, I'm Lebanese, I'm from everywhere.
Yeah.
And kids will give you 3 different answers, right?
Oh, we got a great story. Darian, you remember is his name Nader? Down
Yeah.
in, you know, he was telling the story about his son. His son comes up to him. He's this young second grader son. He says, Dad, can we buy a house in Saudi Arabia? And Nader looked at him and said, son, you know we're not Saudi, right?
Huh? Yeah. I love that. And I love that you said, don't ask your kids where they're from. I was asked where do you call home? You know, the new teacher orientation kind of they want to introduce us
You're
to
like,
the staff right now. And I wrote in the Google form, I was like, I don't really think home is a place. Home is my people, and wherever we are is home. And as cheesy as it sounds,
Shazam.
that is truly
Not
how
cheesy.
I feel.
That's not
I
cheesy.
really believe that though. Like home is with my people, and we can be anywhere, and we're gonna make it work. So
Love
Put
that.
it on a t-shirt.
Yeah, I need a T-shirt when I go back home that says I don't teach English in a cave, and you know that kind of stuff. I mean, they have microwaves here. I mean, people ask you questions. Wait till you go back home after living in Saudi Arabia. There, people are going to look at you like, and then after about 5 minutes, they're going to cash out and start talking about their home mortgage or something because you're not going to be able. They can't relate to you talking about going over a border and getting caught by, getting set aside or getting pulled over by Saudi police that really aren't police or something, right?
Mhm.
People may not connect to your stories, but international teachers will. So you're in among the peeps already, and you already feel that way about the home question. Wait till you get the other questions afterwards. It's an eye opener, but you'll be right in there with it. And you'll notice a difference between the people that connect to you and don't connect to you.
And that's I feel like you guys talked about it before, just going, what do you talk about, when you go home after living abroad for so long? And I kind of find we never lived abroad. We've spent 2 weeks to a month abroad, but that's not living abroad. And I already feel a little bit of disconnection, when you're hanging out and talking about stuff. Like, I don't want to talk about taxes. I want to talk about our next adventure. Or if you tell me something, I'm going to connect it to this experience that we had, or
Don't
how
be
much.
surprised
Yeah.
when you come back from your international travels that your kids gravitate towards other kids who have a worldly experience. That's particularly for the high school kids when they go, they're going to seek out people who maybe have interests and experience similar to themselves. So it'd be really interesting from a professional point of view, even to watch as your kids develop over this journey.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great experience. And I have a memory growing up. My parents had me when they were very young. I had a memory growing up of my mom always saying that she had wished that she had the opportunity to live abroad, but as she, became, a full adult, that, that opportunity's kind of passed by. Right. And so I still have that. I probably was 7, 8 years old, something like that. And now I'm like, never too late. Right? Never too late. Let's go do this thing. And I think I'm very excited. And I think being in Saudi too, right? Playing through the worst case scenario still sounds like an awesome time. It still sounds like a great way to spend.
You made the right choice.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Right. We got a couple. Yeah, sorry, Darian.
I'm not sure if I've ever met. They're probably they do exist. I'm not gonna say they don't exist, but I've never met someone that has held true to that 2 years. I was supposed to be here 2 years. I think everybody on the podcast is only supposed to be here 2 years. Like you get here and you go home the first time and you're like, oh man, I don't know, and then you go home the second time. It's pretty nice. It's hard. I can't remember the last person that I have truly met that came and after 2 years was like, no, this isn't it.
Okay, we're gonna have to cut here for mom.
This is where, Mom, can we cut that out? We don't need to see.
So, you know what? So I'm very open to longer. Jimmy said, I'm giving you 2 years. And I said, okay. And we'll talk and it will be, I will never push. I'm going to push you out of your comfort zone, but not that far. And so he talks about 2 years. And I talk about the world is our oyster. We'll see where the wind blows us in 2027. And I'm going to stay true to that. But I don't think it's going to be 2 years.
I'll push all of the money in the pot. I've been with Jimmy smiling after 3 years. Smiling
Listen to
Jimmy.
the previous episode, he has a big pot. All right, let's move this along a little bit. You guys are in the middle of packing, and what are for the family, for the two of you, what is it that's most important to you to take with you? I know that Monique, you said home is where the people are, but what are some actual objects that speak home to you?
Me? This sounds so weird, but an air fryer.
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah.
You
But
bet.
the thing is, I'm not bringing mine because it's not the right outlet. So I need to get a new one anyways.
Yep.
So
That's
that
right.
kind of stuff. I feel like all of our photos are
Yes.
digitized. So, we do have some family photos hanging up, and that's definitely coming with us. I want our house to feel like our home when we get there. And so kind of even though it's, fully furnished, I want to personalize some stuff. I don't want to feel like I'm in an Airbnb. I want it to be ours. And if you ask our kids, no stuffy will be left behind.
Yeah, sure. Yep.
No
Love that.
squishamallow will be left behind.
Nice.
Some other things too. Mine is really oriented around my family. I don't know that I have like tangible things as much, but things that make our kids happy. So
I think
Jimmy, the simple guy, just needs a basketball, a fire pit, and his family.
There you go.
Yeah.
Nice.
I am
Jimmy
not
just
so
needs a
simple,
crock
very
pot.
complicated.
Now,
But the tangibles don't do it for me.
we only have an hour, so we have to hold the police stories down a little bit. I mean, we'll save most of the good ones for Patreon, the ones that actually have mugshots of Jimmy. But could you tell the ITP crowd about a run-in with authority from the two of you?
Oh man, I think we have two, but it's
Each.
I think it's within maybe a 1 hour, 2 hour span of time. Our most recent trip, and this was actually
Because one of you turned the other one in.
Yeah, a little bit.
You don't have to
we all
testify
know
against
which
each other.
one.
Yeah, so we're trying to leave Aguas Calientes, right? We're done with Machu Picchu. We're making it back to Cusco, and nobody got in trouble, by the way. But we get shoveled into the local train station where all the locals go, and not the tourists.
And come to find out, I guess they sell a certain amount of tickets to get from Aguas Caliente to Ollantaytambo, and the locals, I guess whatever tickets are left over, the locals can get. So you got crowds and crowds of people that are locals trying to get a ticket. We already had our tickets, but obviously not speaking the language very well, didn't know where we were going.
Yeah, so we're trying to shuffle in. You guys, it is like it's a mosh pit. It was so congested.
I am legend vibes.
Yeah, like it was wild, and it was low-key almost dangerous. And we were trying to force our way through into this giant sea of people into one slender door or like gate. And I looked at the kids and I said, hang on for dear life. Do not let go. And I just shouldered my way through like a linebacker. And my next guy
over
back
old lady.
here, he is, I'm thinking he's followed the directions too and understood the assignment. Nope. So we get through the gate and I see everybody but this guy. And so I start yelling at a police officer, nicely, of course. And I said, necesito mi esposa. And he looked at me. And I don't know how much Espanol you guys got, but I asked for my wife. And he
said my wife.
Yeah. And I meant to say esposo. You know, I didn't do it right. And he just looked at me like I had 17 heads. And basically, he's like, the tall white guy? I'm like, yes. Yep.
Oh my God.
So, you know,
she's the one. He's
the one. So my husband gets ushered through. I'm like, could we not have ushered all 5 of us 30 minutes ago so we didn't miss our train? So that was good. So we get on the train. We're like, we have the release and we're just waiting for this hour or whatever train ride. And so the kids are having fun, blah, blah, blah. We're looking out the window and, you know, through the Sacred Valley of Peru. It was beautiful. And then we get off the train and we're going to stay in an Ollantaytambo just for a night. And we get off, and right before our 5-year-old is like, I don't feel good. And we have a little bit of motion sickness every once in a while. Mm-hmm. And so we're like, well, we need to get off this train. So we got to figure it out. And we get off, and we get, I don't know, 20 feet right in front of this lovely Quechua woman's little stand where she's trying to sell her favorite things. And a police officer, our 5-year-old, throws up all over him. Over. No. Yeah. So we all just stare at each other. I don't know how to talk about this. I got like academic Spanish language and a few little niceties, and that's where it ends. So I cannot talk about this throw up on you. And
it's a tough concept.
Yeah. And so we all just stare at each other, and Jimmy looks at me. He's like, you got any water? We had barely any water left, but we didn't know that. So we take a water bottle, and it's our water bottle. It's not a clear plastic one. And we have no idea how much is in there. And we're like, we just looked at each other. We're like, let's just try to squirt it, like just wash it off real quick. He opened it.
Like clean it off the boots.
He went in. And he went in like it was going to be 3 gallons. You guys, drips came out. And it didn't wash off at all. And we just looked at him and we just said sorry. And we just left. And that was the end of it.
Thankfully, nobody was detained.
Yes. But we felt so bad. Like they're just out there doing their job, making their living. And we really
threw up on them.
High school Spanish. ¿Dónde está la casa de Pepe?
Yeah. So
I love that. That's a cute story, though.
Thank you. Yeah, we have no juicy.
It has a different story. The police officer, would you love to be around his circle of friends?
Yeah.
Oh, well, let's go around the circle and share some final thoughts. I'll start with Darian and then the single guy and then Monique and Jimmy. I'll come around to both of you. Darian, final thoughts for the ITP?
I'm just so excited for those beginning steps in your journey, your enthusiasm. I think that you will find what you're looking for and more as soon as you land and before. So I'm just looking forward and hopefully connecting once you all land in the sands of Saudi Arabia.
Yes, land in the sand. I like that.
That's a good one.
Single guy. What do you got for us, Greg?
I just have to say, welcome to the family. You're not there yet, and I do caution. I have cautionary tales. You know that things will go wrong, and that's part of the journey. So embrace all that stuff, like the vomit on the guard. You just gotta go with it, right? You're going to have more stories like that. You're going to least expected stories, right? It's going to be something so casual, and you're going to have stories about it. So I look forward to hearing those on the next time you visit us and check back in.
Thank you.
Let's jump over to Jimmy. Jimmy, final thoughts for the ITP crowd, and then we'll finish up with Monica. Monique.
I think, gosh, just taking the leap. It's been exciting. I'm very, very excited to kind of see what this looks like in reality. Being open to an adventure, and like you'd said, anybody that you talk to that's taken it. We've had a few friends over the years, teachers that have taken the leap, and you can't find somebody that's had an experience that they didn't just cherish forever, right? That's not to mean it's going to be easy and everything's going to be great, but we're ready to embrace the good with the bad and have this cultural experience. So very excited. Thank you guys for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Monique. Yeah, I'm just super excited to fulfill, I think, my wildest dream I've ever had. Like being a mom.
For now.
Yeah.
Till the next one.
was really important, having my family that I just love and adore, but being able to do this with them is such an honor for me, and I'm so excited to walk this journey alongside all four of them, and then give our kids what I believe is the greatest gift in the universe that we could ever give to them. And I just feel like I'm going to be old and so happy that we did this. So happy. So I would encourage anybody else in our situation to don't back down because it seems a little hard. If you really want to do this, make it happen. If I can do it, you can do it.
Hey, Monique's a better co-host than you single guys. Sorry, we're making some changes in the lineup.
No, right?
Starting next week. Hey, listen, I'd like to thank our very special guests, Monique and Jimmy, who are on their way to Saudi Arabia in a few short months. Darian predicts that in 2 years, you'll be taking your mother out, to ice cream, explain the concept of contract extension. I'd like to thank Darian straight from his daughter's closet. Darian, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
I would like to thank my co-host, the single guy. You can find his book, Greg Lemoyne. Let's see. What is the title of his book again? Oh, Finding the Right Fit.
Oh.
www.amazon.com or wherever you buy your finer books. Thank you, Greg.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, guys.
The cat guy. And you can find me, as always, in room 303. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, guys.